Hi, this is Jay Spillers with Inspire Me with Jay. I have a special guest today. Um, Her name is Stacey Piedrahita. Stacey, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Jay. Thanks for having me.
Did you want to tell us about, start with your near-death experience that you had?
Sure. It was actually on April 24th. I was in critical condition requiring 24/7 care. And my last conversation was with my husband. And I said to him, obviously, I said goodbye to my children. I really believed I was in that such critical state that I believed I wasn't going to make it through the night. And I said to my husband, if anything happens to me tonight, all I care about is you getting my journals out. And he said, okay, you don't want to, he shut it down. And the last thing I remember is falling asleep. And then I thought I woke up around 3 o'clock in the morning. It was a very surreal feeling. It's like every traumatic thing I had ever been through in my entire life, it was like a beautiful puzzle piece. It fit together and everything was explained to me. Every question I ever had, it was like my life flashed in front of my eyes. I didn't remember anything. Just a lot of bright light. I met a couple of people there and I felt the most unimaginable, unconditional love. Words honestly can't describe it. So when I kind of came to, I shook my husband and I'm like, I don't know what the hell just happened because I didn't know if I dreamt it, but everything that I had been through since, it was definitely a near-death experience. And the most amazing thing is I received a spontaneous remission instantly from all of my autoimmune diseases. It was like instantly I was healed and I was like, the hell just happened? It was crazy. And that was back in April and it's been a whirlwind ever since.
So
Crazy.
what kind of questions did you ask? Well, did you see a light specifically?
Oh my God. It was almost like, and I've done this a couple times when I meditate, it's almost like I went through a tunnel, but it was like colors. It was all the colors of the rainbow. And I don't know how to describe it, but it was like this beautiful, beautiful light and this unbelievable shower of love that I can't even describe. I've never felt anything like that before. I've never been spiritual to the point where I've felt God's love before, but that was really the only thing. And I reached out to my therapist. I've been in trauma therapy for 18 months now. And I asked her, I'm like, what the hell just happened? And she said, you, my dear, had a near-death experience. And I'm like, but I didn't die. And she's like, it doesn't matter. You believed you were that close to death that my psyche believed it was a near-death experience. And everything in that moment drastically changed. Life drastically changed. And then on May 7th, I had life-saving surgery. And the minute my eyes opened, I was like a different person. I was seeing flowers for the first time, trees and grass and everything that was beautiful. Things that I never really appreciated smacked me in the face. And I was like, what is going on? So between the two of those, they were a week and a half apart. It was such a life-altering experience. I can't even describe it in words. I just get stronger every day. This is my path that I was meant to walk down. And I did confirm with a couple other people. I'm an intuitive healer. And I spoke to a couple of friends of mine who are Reiki masters. And I was supposed to die that night. And my will was so strong that nope. So I was like, all righty then. So call me Rocky. I don't know what you want to call me, but it's unbelievable. Words can't describe it. So yeah, light's everything. It's crazy.
Yeah, and they have what they call a spiritually transformative experience where you can experience virtually the same thing as in the NDE. The only difference being is that you don't actually die. And I had someone on last time who was talking about having a spiritually transformative experience where she met her deceased brother and was driving and had a full experience.
Right.
But like, what kind of questions did you ask? Did you call the light God, or would you call it God?
So yeah, so I was raised Jewish and I converted to Christianity. And unfortunately, I did not have a connection with God. So I was like, what do I call this? So at first I was like, the universe, something happened. But after I became even more spiritual, I now call my God, God, who lives in my heart. I don't believe in a God outside of my own body. But yeah, my connection with my higher power is God. The questions I asked were like, why, because I've been a trauma survivor since I was 9 years old. I pretty much raised myself. And I was like, why did I have to go through all of this? And he gave me my answers. And he said, because I'm supposed to teach others who are walking down the same path that I went through, that it's okay not to be okay. And you've got this, and take your power back. And I was like, okay. It's a big responsibility. That's a pretty big weight on someone's shoulders. But I communicate every day. I've got a team of spirit guides that I ask questions. It's so unimaginable that if it wasn't happening to me, I'd be like, you're full of shit. But, so whenever I have questions, I'm just like, why? And, Wayne Dyer is someone who is very, very special to me. I call him my fairy godfather. He's the father of motivational speaking. I didn't even know who he was a year ago. Hand to God, I had no clue. But, I channel him. I channel a couple of other people. And it's just like such an unimaginable way to go through life. Like, I don't ever want anything else. I'm like, I'm good. Thank you, God. I'll stay here. Just tell me where you want me to go. And I was never like that. I was just going through the motions of life. And the minute I became one with spirit, I am so inspired every day now. It's like life drastically changed. It's crazy. It really is. It's amazing.
Did you ask any questions like, what is the meaning of life, and what is our purpose on earth, or anything like that in a general sense?
Yeah, I did. And honestly, it was just to love yourself. That's what he told me. Just love yourself. If you love yourself, everything will fall into place and follow your heart. And it really made sense to me, because I'm not one who was all about loving myself. I was all about giving back to others. I never took care of me. And that's why it had to happen this way. So yeah, self-love, taking your power back. Life should be fun. I've never had fun with life. To me, it was working and going through the motions, and he's just like, go have fun. Like literally on New Year's Eve, I had a celebration. I'm one with nature now. That's where I connect with my inner, my higher power is in nature, in the trees and nature. And he literally, I looked up in the sky and there was a beautiful cloud, and he's like, go paint your canvas. I'm like, seriously? Okay. Yeah, self-love. I wish I would have known this when I was 18 years old, but it had to happen this way, because there's no regrets. Whatever happens tomorrow, I just live day by day. And that's what the message was. Day by day, live your life, have fun, make your own rules, connect with an inner power, your own divine source. And my God, the world would just be a happier place. So yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, like in terms of your spontaneous healing from your autoimmune disease, there's others that have had NDEs that have had spontaneous recoveries too, like Mellon Thomas Benedict had a brain tumor, which was cancerous. And when he came back, it was healed. And his doctor said it was a spontaneous remission. What did your doctor say about your healing?
I don't believe, unfortunately, I've been a nurse for 27 years and I've kind of given up on Western medicine. So I pretty much diagnosed myself with my functional medicine doctor. They said, yes, absolutely. Not only did I have a spontaneous remission from several autoimmune diseases, there was other things that I, recovered from as well. And it's all about your mindset. I was determined when I was bedridden, 24/7 care, I was determined to heal. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. I was done. I saw like 5 minutes of this life. And Dr. Joe Dispenza is one of my amazing, I just love the man. I don't know him personally, but he did so much when it came to my recovery. All about your mindset. I was determined to heal. I could have done without the near-death experience. I'm not going to lie, because I'm a very positive person. I'm all about gratitude and positivity and laughter. But I basically healed myself. And I actually had a cardiologist say to me, because what had happened was I was misdiagnosed with lupus and rheumatoid arthritis. And in February, I was put on a Reva, which is an immunosuppressant, which is a pretty toxic medication. And my gut said, don't take it. Don't take it. But I insisted because I was feeling so shitty. And that's what actually led to the near-death experience. So it all fell into line perfectly. It all made sense. Everything that I've been through now, looking back, the steps, God literally said, here are your puzzle pieces. He put everything together. So I'm my own doctor. I'm my own healer. 27 years as a nurse, I'm good. Certain doctors, I'm like, no, thank you. My cardiologist even said to me, breast implant illness isn't real, which is what I, ended up getting sick from. And I was done with that. So, I was like, no, thank you. And I just doing my own thing.
So like when you had your near-death experience, do you feel like a spiritual portal was open that sort of obviously healed you, but sort of gave you your intuitive abilities? Because a lot of near-death experiencers will come back and they'll be psychic, or they'll have special hearing or seeing or something. You feel like a portal was open for you?
Oh, Lord. Absolutely. I'm Whoopi Goldberg from Ghost. I didn't ask for it, but I'm like, now that I have it, I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? But absolutely. And not only that, after I had my near-death experience, I became a Reiki practitioner. So after every attunement ceremony, I'm now a Reiki master. I was more enlightened. I was able to shift into a higher level of consciousness. So now, I channel all the time. When I'm doing my Reiki on people, I have voices that come in and I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? I didn't ask for this. But when I tell people what I'm hearing, it resonates so much with them. So I'm like, okay, people say I'm like a medium, whatever, but definitely more intuitive, higher level of consciousness. I can, get into a gamma state in 2 seconds flat just by listening to certain, mantras. Oh yeah. Everything shifted. A year ago, I would have killed to have 2 minutes of peace. I couldn't meditate for 30 seconds. This was a gift from God. Like this was the most unimaginable gift from God. And I'm just so humbled and grateful that I've been chosen, because I didn't want it to end the other way. So I'm very blessed. But
yeah, and a lot of people that have near-death experiences had trauma in their past, in their life, possibly when they were a child or an event happened. It sounds like maybe you kind of had a traumatic childhood growing up. Do you think that contributed to having an NDE? Because only about 20% of those that die clinically have a near-death experience. There does seem to be somewhat of a connection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. My trauma not only was responsible for the near-death experience, it was responsible for my lupus and RA. It truly was. Because the minute I started acknowledging my trauma, not only did I have the spontaneous remission, but I was able to get off all medications. So, I kept my trauma in. My trauma is all in my belly. I healed the root cause, which unfortunately, I couldn't get those answers. I had to figure that out on my own. And I'm glad I did, because my healing story is going to benefit a woman out there whose doctor is saying it's anxiety and depression. No, it's not. address your trauma, get a good therapist, come to terms, have some good support, and you'll heal yourself as well. But trauma was significant for me. And if I didn't, and I actually wrote a story about it. I'm an author as well. I was in a book that became a bestseller last year. And one of my stories is in the chapter. And my trauma, I thought I healed my trauma, but I realized, Jay, talking about my trauma was not healing it, which I thought I was wrong about that. I literally had to process my trauma. As soon as I processed my trauma, everything started getting easier. I was able to get out of bed. I was able to move the joint pain started disappearing. I'm like the Energizer Bunny now. Like I'm all over the place. I have so much energy. I'm happy. But if I would have known about the trauma aspect, who knows? But trauma was definitely significant. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But did you start healing?
It all combined.
Yeah. Did you start healing immediately from your trauma once you had your NDE? Or that was more gradual than the physical healing?
So I started my spiritual awakening 4 years ago when I started the whole, laughter, gratitude, and positivity. So I had my NDE in April. It just made me a little more spiritual. But it wasn't until I had a spontaneous Kundalini awakening gone wrong that shifted everything. Once I started healing my trauma through the Kundalini awakening, that's really, really what healed me. And I'm still processing that. That was pretty traumatic. And I'm still really not recovered from that. Actually, that was worse than the near-death experience, to be honest with you. So.
Well, so when you were on the other side, you saw different colors in the light. Did you see any like nature scenes? Did you encounter any other people or entities besides God on the other side?
Yeah, and actually I wrote about this in the book because I was really, really angry with God all my life. Obviously, I blamed him for everything, big mistake. And when I tried going to church 4 years ago, I spent a year and a half going every Saturday night with my girlfriends until Corona hit. And I ended up, everyone, went into massive lockdown. So I couldn't go to church anymore. But I never had that connection. And I beat myself up because I'm like, why can't I become one with Jesus? Why am I not understanding? And I met him that night and I was forgiven because I felt like, oh my God, I'm a heathen. I'm not Christian. I don't believe in Jesus. I'm not understanding it. And not only did I meet him that night, but when I had my Reiki Master Attunement ceremony, I saw Jesus as well. And it was just amazing. I'm like, am I dreaming all this? Like the only one I tell is my husband because it really sounds that crazy. But now that I'm meeting other people who have been through the same situations, it's not as isolating. So I feel more open to talk about it now. But it's amazing. I met one of the original founders of the Reiki, Mrs. Staccato. I mean, it's just insane the people that I've met. My grandparents come through constantly. I don't know who comes through. I just say I'm ready to connect. And I ask for the spirit guides for the highest truth and compassion. Whoever shows up, shows up. So it's crazy.
So in terms of like your intuition, do you have intuition about different people? Can you read minds or anything like that? Or
so here's the thing. When that started happening, I was like, I don't want that because I don't want to be a psychic. Like that's not the path I want to take. So when that started happening, I had to shut it down. Because I wasn't understanding, because it's not like I could call up someone and say, hey, I'm hearing voices and not sound like a lunatic. But yeah, I mean, when I was doing Reiki on a couple of people, I'm able to hear their thoughts and just write things that I'm supposed to tell them. But when I'm in the grocery store, like say I'm checking out, I'll get a message about the lady that's checking me out. And I'm like, I don't want to tell people because it's not my place. So I'm really not honoring that gift because I really don't want it, to be honest with you. I'd rather use my gifts in a different way to inspire and empower women. I don't want to read people, but unfortunately, yeah, I have to turn that off every now and then.
So in terms of meditation or different practices that you do, have you been able to reach parity or kind of come close to where you were with the near-death experience? Anything as profound as the NDE since you've been back?
Absolutely, all the time. Actually, when my husband and I went to a museum about 6 weeks ago, I was standing behind a unicorn because when I released my trauma, I released my inner child as well. So I'm honoring her and I'm doing things for her, you know, watching Disney movies, just really treating her, giving her the love that she never got as a child. So we went to the museum and there was a unicorn behind me. And my husband took 3 pictures. They're the exact same pictures. And on the 3rd picture, there's a rainbow on my sweater that looks like the unicorn vomited on me. So it was 12 o'clock at night. My husband was sleeping. And all of a sudden I saw the picture and it was like something instantly shifted because I closed my eyes and I felt the same thing that I had with the near-death experience. I went through the lights again with the chopper colors and the rainbows. And I started seeing shapes and triangles and all these different auras and the northern lights. And I'm like, what the hell? And I was afraid to wake my husband up. And I'm like, all right, just go with it. Just go with it. And I'm just reaching higher levels of consciousness. No one has been able to explain what the hell happened to me. I'm just like, okay. Obviously, they're trying to communicate with me because I get messages all the time that I'm documenting. As a nurse, that's what we do. We love to document. So everything that's happening to me, I'm taking pictures, I'm journaling, and I'm like, this is unbelievable shit. I hate saying unbelievable because it means it really, you can't believe it, but unimaginable. I literally have to pinch myself because I'm looking at some of these pictures and I'm like, am I really getting messages? And now I'm hearing things. So not only am I seeing, the one thing I did say to them, I don't want to see them. Like, I don't want to see ghosts. That makes me very, very uncomfortable and it scares me. So I have an agreement with my spirit team. I'm like, look, I don't want to see y'all. So they give me messages. Now I'm hearing messages. Perfect example. The other day we're lying in bed and I'm like, why are you playing Christmas music? My husband looks at me. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I'm hearing Christmas songs. I'm like, you know, that song, Christmas, Christmas, Christmas. He looked at me like I had 12 heads. He's like, I'm watching a video with cars. And I'm like, fuck. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to curse. Sorry. But yeah, so I'm now getting messages. I smell certain things from my childhood, and that's from my grandparents, who are to my 2 butterflies that are on my wrist. It's magical. It's just magical. There's no other way. It's everything that I've read about, the books that we all read to be like, oh my God, I want to be like this person. But yet I'm now living it. And I'm like, wow, thank you. Like, all I can say is thank you, because every day is a new beginning. Every day is another chance to reach someone with my voice and my story. And it's like, it's just an amazing way to go through life. And I can't believe I get to do this.
Yeah, I was listening to someone talk yesterday who was talking about, and I can send you the video, but he was talking about how everybody can essentially remote view and see things that are going to happen in the future and things like that. It's just a matter of quieting your mind and just allowing it to go there. And he's saying everyone can do that. Do you believe that's true, or is there only certain people?
Everyone.
Yeah.
No, honestly, I believe everyone has a purpose in life. But here's the thing. I mean, I have been working on myself for 4 years. It's not like, ooh, I woke up and I'm enlightened all of a sudden. I have been doing the work. I worked on myself. I showed up every day. How many people are willing to go 9 rounds with Rocky and survive and be like, I'm still standing? Not many. I didn't think I was going to be able to survive, but that's the thing. You have to be willing to do the dirty work. You have to be willing to look in the mirror and say, these are my flaws. These are my mistakes. This is my fault. For me, that's what I had to do. But I was willing to change. Whatever it was going to take, I was willing to do the work. And it was worth every penny I spent on therapy. EMDR therapy saved my life. You know, you got to remember, before my near-death experience, I was bedridden. What was I doing? I was watching Joe Dispenza. I was watching, you know, Wayne. I was watching all these people, and they changed my life. And honestly, I believe anyone can have this. You just got to do the work and really, really love yourself first. And then it'll all fall into place. Absolutely.
How do you encourage someone to start the work? Is it start with like meditating and doing self-discovery through meditative process? Is that much of the work that you're talking about doing?
So I had to figure everything out on my own. So what I would do is I would tell people, find a couple people that are mentors that really resonate with you, that you love their personality. So the minute I started doing that, I gave myself permission to heal. Number one, I looked in the mirror and said, Stacey, I give you permission to heal. Stacey, I forgive you. That took a long ass time. The minute that happened, I started doing meditations. I was not a Zen person. I couldn't meditate for 2 seconds a year ago. So what I ended up doing was I found music that I really liked that resonated with me, and I made it fun. I'm not going to do it if it's not fun. Life is meant to be fun. I lived 54 years of not having any fun. I want fun. So I made it my own, and whatever I resonated with, I was like, oh, I like the way she does things, and I did my own twist. You know, not many people get the opportunity to be bedridden and have nothing else to do but journal and watch TV. So I gave up all reality crap that I used to love. I was an oncology nurse at Duke, and unfortunately, death and dying was all that I knew. So when I went home, I needed mindless entertainment. And I got addicted to the Bravo, and I loved all that stuff, and I totally stopped. I distanced myself from friends and family. I just needed to focus on Stacey. And it was a year in the making, and the near-death experience happened, quarter of the way through. Yeah, it's, but yeah, anyone can have this. That's, you just, I don't know, you have to be strong enough to have enough of a little bit of a spark to say to whatever your higher power is, I want to heal. That's what I did. And thank God I'm still here.
Have you got any feelings about the state of the world and what's been going on with COVID? Is there fishy business going on here? Or do you get anything on that? Or
yeah, and from what I got with my experience, we are all one. We're all under, the same universe, whatever you want to call it, whatever your higher power is. I can't look at the news. I have to be in a bubble. Just like, Wayne Dyer says, I disconnect. I disconnect from all negativity. I disconnect from all drama. It's a very, very isolating place. But to be honest with you, everything that happened, let's just say God took the trash out for me. I hate to say it like that, but I was holding on to too many people that were like soul suckers. I've got beautiful light and beautiful energy, and people take advantage of that. And this had to happen for me to realize, it's time for Stacey to set boundaries and put myself first, but it's, I don't know. Again, I'm dumbfounded because, I'm just sharing my story, and that's all I want to do. That's all I want to do is tell people about the God that rescued me, because my God could be the God that someone else needs and has to hear it at that moment. And that's all I want to do the rest of my life. Whatever time I have left on this planet, I am dancing down that illuminated path, and I'm just having a blast. But yeah, everything has to change. So, be the change you want to see in this world. That is what I want to do. I will be the change I want to see in this world, because the world is falling apart. People are inconsiderate. People aren't paying attention. They're self-absorbed. Everyone is trauma, depression, anxiety, over-medicated. It breaks my heart because that is not a way to live life. You know, It's crazy, sad,
Well,
very sad.
it's
But I
kind of like,
wasn't that, and before my near-death experience, I wasn't like,
well, it's kind of like there's a spiritual awakening going on, but you kind of wonder if
huge.
there's people that are taking advantage of COVID, COVID and things that are going on for their own ends. And I don't know if you ever got any vibe. Is there sort of a larger cabal or some kind of a new world order or whatever word you want to put on it going on, and they have a plan to take the world in a certain direction?
So here's my take on it. I want 1%. I want 1% of the pie. If every person that reaches enlightenment or becomes awakened, and I'm talking about people that, you don't worry about the money. You don't worry about tomorrow. You live for today. Not a lot of people have that mentality or that mindset. But if everyone had 1%, if one person could make a difference with one person, smiling, say something nice about them, give them a compliment, uplift one person, my gosh, one person who reaches enlightenment has a ripple effect of 1 million people. I'm taking 1%. If other people had the same attitude, yes, things could drastically change, and it needs to happen. So I have to surround myself, and I'm off social media because I have to surround myself only with people that truly want to make a difference in the world and see a brighter world and a happier place and more fun. And, just stop being so damn serious. Take the stick out of your ass. And it's like, come on, there are too many rules, and I'm a very kind person. I'm very positive. Am I a Jesus freak or a Bible thumper? Nope. I found my God in the woods. How is that bad? More people need to know, because if I knew that 4 years ago that I could go to the woods and find God, sign me up. Okay, I'll try it. It's just, it's sad though. The world's falling apart, and I worry for my kids and my grandkids. It's scary. It's very scary.
Well, so I think the main thing is you have to focus more on the positive and do positive things to change the world, whether
Yes.
you're using meditation or teaching certain things that because the thing is when you get focused on the negative, if you focus too much on the negative, it can really take me down, because I know a lot of people on social media, they always that's all they ever talk about is what's wrong with this, what's wrong with that. There's a conspiracy for this and that, and there may be truth in that, but it's like, I can't focus all my attention there. It just takes me down too much.
I cannot be around any negativity. I have such a bubble around me that I'm like, nope, nope, nope. And I can't, because not only is negativity toxic, stress is the #1 cause of disease. So hello, half the autoimmune disease that people are walking around with, decrease your stress, you'll be a lot happier. Watch your eating. It's, yeah. I could talk about this for 300 hours.
So what is Reiki anyway, though? What does it entail? Is that primarily what you use
Reiki
to heal?
is basically, that's how I used to heal myself. I became a Reiki master, and I thought I was going to own a business doing Reiki, but I was like, nope, I don't want that. I just want to have fun. But Reiki is energy healing. It's life force energy. And basically, in a nutshell, it's all about balancing your chakras, which are energy wheels in your body. If your chakras are balanced, there's 7 main ones, then life flows. You go down the river and you're just enjoying life. You're not anxious. You're not depressed. You've got some bad moments, but you bounce right back. But if your chakras are blocked, and my heart, this is very important as well. My heart chakra was blocked because of my breast implants. The minute my implants came out, I could take a deep breath. I saw things differently, but that was blocking the energy in my body. No wonder I was so miserable and sick. So it's energy healing. It's using your own mindset, like mind, body, spirit. The body's connected. The whole body's connected and you want balance. But yeah, Reiki was critical for me. A year ago, I wasn't into Reiki. I'd really never heard about it. I kind of thought it was one of those like hokey things. And a year ago in February, I walked in to do Reiki for the first time, and I literally started sobbing. I felt this unbelievable peace, kind of similar to what I felt the night of my near-death experience. I didn't understand it, but now I know it was all part of my plan. That's where I belonged. But Reiki is wonderful. Reiki just changed everything. Now, if I have pain, instead of taking the Tylenol, I'll do some Reiki. There you go. No, I'm not bashing meds, but for me, my body was in a toxic state from overdosing on meds from doctors. So I'm a little like, no, thank you. So I'd rather do things more holistically. And Reiki is the reason I was able to heal. One of the big reasons.
So how does the Reiki master work? Do they sort of have you lie down and you start to meditate, and they like, connect you to the different points, like go to this point and, walk you through it?
So Reiki is more like it's hands on. It's either hands on. I do mine virtual. I do Reiki virtual, so you could do either hands on or hands off. So basically, if you take your cell phone and you have the cord in the, you've got the outlet in the wall and you've got your cell phone. A Reiki master is the cord. So basically, I'm a channel or a vessel, whatever you want to call it, to your higher power. So you don't take my energy, I don't take yours. Everything that comes through me comes through my crown chakra to the client, and I give them messages and it shows me where to heal and where to place my hands. I also do archangelic light, whereas Reiki is more physical. Archangelic light goes right to the root cause of your illness, which is wonderful. So I do a meditation, I do some Reiki light, I do some archangelic light, and in an hour, you feel instantly better. It's amazing how this works.
Is
the first time I did Reiki, what?
Oh, no, I was going to say, is it sort of like, when you read in the New Testament, how like Jesus or the apostles put their hands on someone and they were healed, that the power of God is sort of flowing through them and healing the person? Is that kind of what's going on with Reiki?
Yes. So everyone will look at it a little differently, but we don't heal them. The client heals themselves. So if they walk into it and they're saying, I'm going to heal whoever they want to pray to, because we do ask for permission. We do say a prayer before we start. So we connect with it's Jesus, God, universe, whoever you want to connect to. So we connect to their higher power and they do the healing. I'm just the facilitator. I'm just the vessel. I'm like, all right, I'm done. But I'm just the vessel. But Reiki is more, mind as well. It's almost like the placebo effect. If you go into anything thinking it's going to work, it's going to work, But I'm all about energy healing now. I mean, the way it's healed me, I am such an advocate right now for Reiki because I was blown away just to see what it's done for my own body. And friends of mine that I've healed or clients that I've healed, well, helped heal. I hate saying I healed them because I don't. I'm just the facilitator. But yeah, Reiki is amazing. And I wish more people would have an open mind. Just about, open up a little bit. Because even if you're, Buddhist, Christian, Catholic, the two of them are you're going to do it together. It doesn't take away from anything. It doesn't make you go, down a weird path or a dark path. It just adds to whatever religion you want to be a part of. I'm all spiritual. I do nothing with religion. It just adds to their own spirituality journey.
So is that primarily what you still use now is Reiki, and just incorporate other things like the archangel healings and different things like that? But you're working with energy medicines.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I mean, Reiki, there's tapping. There's so many different holistic ways for people to heal themselves. But yeah, I do a little bit of everything. I actually do it more for me. I was doing my Reiki business late last year, but I decided I don't want a business. So I'm just sharing my story and doing like a free Facebook group. That's how I'm healing people themselves. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's more people need to know about Reiki. People definitely need to know because, if people just open their minds just a little bit to kind of intrigue and be like, huh, have an open mind a little bit. It's amazing what you could do to your psyche. It's amazing.
Well, and you said that you were a nurse and that you had sort of turned away from traditional medicine. Is Reiki and
Yes.
energy healing not really accepted yet within the medical community?
I mean, it depends. If you've got doctors that are more open-minded, absolutely. But when I left the hospital in April before my near-death experience, I was there for 4 days, and not only did I have my autoimmune crap medications, I was put on 3 toxic cardiac meds for my heart with a heart condition I never had. And I said, the day I got released, I had an appointment with functional medicine the next day. And I told the doctor that. He's like, you'll be back. I'm like, what do you mean you'll be back? He's like, well, we're going to find out what's wrong with you. And I'm like, by the time you kill me? Seriously. And the next day I walked into, my husband had to escort me in because I was barely walking at this time. And he took one look at me and he said, you're being poisoned. And I said, what? He was an ER doc at Duke for 20 years. And and God literally, because he was booked until I think August or September, he had a cancellation and I called from the hospital. So that was another divine intervention. But the minute I saw a different perspective, you got to understand, 27 years as a nurse, Western medicine, I'm all about, making people comfortable, give them the meds, keep them safe, whatever. And I'm like, wow, it's a whole new world that I knew nothing about. I was closed-minded as well. The minute I opened up and I listened to what he had to say, it all was like, boom. That aha moment, you're like, holy shit, I've been doing this all wrong. So I had to, I wanted to leave nursing. I was done. I was done with hospitals. I was done with everything.
Well, it's sort of like 30 years ago, the medical community was not open to near-death experiences. They weren't open to meditation, but now they're much more open to those things. But they haven't come around to like energy healing yet. But maybe, in a few decades, they might come around. You don't think so? Or
here, God, I mean, I hate to get into this, but big pharma, there's all the money, go ahead, smoke some weed. That's free. You see what I'm saying? It's like, no one's going to say, go ahead and do that. And it breaks my heart to see that. But I think big pharma, they make a lot of money, and I'm not going to bash conventional medicine. I can't, because people need those meds. I mean, I was on antidepressants most of my life. It's the only way I could function. But now that I'm off everything, I was like, damn, why didn't I know this back then? So people just don't know until they meet someone who's either lived through it or they read a book, something resonates with them, and they're like, oh, now I see things differently. So I think it's going to happen a lot quicker, because like you did say, there's a huge spiritual awakening going on. And I've got a big mouth. I'm literally just getting started. So I've got big plans. So if I need to, shake things up with mental health community, please, because with my Kundalini awakening, my Kundalini got stuck in my solar plexus. I was critical. And the fact, if I would have gone to any hospital, they would have shot me up with antipsychotic meds because I was hallucinating. I was seeing things, and I would have been labeled in the system mentally ill. No, that can't happen. It breaks my heart that there's such a stigma on mental health. I ran from crazy all my life, and there's no shame. You want to call me crazy? Go ahead. Call me beautiful crazy. I'll take that. People need to wake the F up.
well, it's Kundalini it's making a higher connection within Reiki, right? Because it's almost like nirvana, kind of. Is it sort of like that, or when you have a Kundalini moment?
So you got to understand, I'm learning all this as I go. I am not an expert. I'm just sharing my story. I thought Kundalini was a sex position, to be honest with you. I'm not lying. So when I heard the Kundalini Mantra, that was the first time I heard it. And I'm like, I started crying again. I had one of those divine moments that I was like, have you ever felt like you're like the happiest you've ever been? You're crying tears of joy. Tears were sobbing down my throat. And I'm like, what is this? And it was a Kundalini mantra. So I Googled Kundalini, and it's yoga for awareness. I don't do yoga, so I knew nothing about Kundalini. So everything that I've learned, like I said, I was given a book, and I was like, where do people go to learn about Kundalini? Because not a lot of people know about it. And what I found out was people will go 20 years to try and get a spontaneous Kundalini awakening or an awakening. Mine happened spontaneously. But it's nirvana. I mean, even my husband's like, how are things different? And I explained to him, like, say last night we were watching TV. The Maldives is one of my bucket trip lists. So when I'm looking at a picture, I can shift into such a higher level of consciousness that I feel like I'm there. Like my heart is overflowing. Like my heart chakra is overflowing with tears of joy because I'm literally right there. And that didn't happen with the near-death experience. That was the Kundalini.
So what is it?
It really is. Again, I still like pinch myself.
So what is the work that you're doing now? Because you said that you work with women in particular, in terms of healing and things. Like, what are you doing specifically right now in terms of your work?
So right now I'm volunteering my services at our local homeless shelter in the area because I need to give back. And I am just writing. I'm writing my memoir. I'm writing poems. I'm featured in a magazine next month. I'm on the cover. So I'm just promoting my story, and that's all I'm doing. I'm on Instagram, getting off social media though. So I'm just sharing my story through podcasts and, magazines. So like I said, I'm donating my time in a Facebook group and at a homeless shelter. I'm not doing my Reiki business right now because I'm still processing everything that happened to me. And I'm kind of like, where am I going with this? And I know what God's plans are because he told me, but I'm not sharing that with people because there are things I'm keeping private, so I'm just, every day my path is led. Like I will get signs from my guides telling me, call this person, do this. And God has blessed me so abundantly. A year ago, I wanted the 6 figures. I was up for a director of clinical operations position. I wanted the money. I was like, yes, I want the money. I'm good. I'm ready to go. Now, none of that matters. None of that matters. It's as many people that I can touch with my smile, my laughter. So that's how I'm working.
So you've already written a book. Is it published? What is the name of your book?
Intuitive Speaking Her Truth.
Okay. And is it available on Amazon?
It actually became a bestseller in 24 hours in 8 countries and 22 categories.
Wow.
So it's pretty amazing. Yeah, it's about 24 women all over the world. I think I was one of 3 Americans, 24 women from all over the world that found the light in the darkest of places. So, and after I had to resign from my nursing position last year, the publisher reached out to me 5 days later. So God was like, here you go. Here you go. So I guess you can say I manifested. When they say you create your own destiny, you're a co-creator. Absolutely. Because everything I write down is manifested and it shows up, and it's just like, I'm leading with my heart. Every morning I say to God, where may I serve? And he led me to the homeless shelter where I got COVID from, as I told you last week.
Yeah.
But, where may I serve? God, where do you want me to go? And I feel like, wherever he's leading me, I'm going. And then when I'm not going, I'm in the woods, sleeping under the stars and dancing in the moonlight. It's a pretty damn good life, knock on wood.
Well, do you think you were able to heal faster from COVID using energy medicine and the things that you're involved with? You think you got through it quicker and it was less severe?
That COVID kicked my ass. No, that COVID kicked my ass. I don't know. I honestly was pretty much in bed for a week. I had the actual COVID. I didn't have the other variants.
Yeah.
But no, no. I was in pretty bad shape, but I stayed out of the hospital and I didn't take any Tylenol. I didn't take anything. So I just healed naturally with fluids, meditation. I didn't do any Reiki on me because when you're in a very positive mindset and you just go with the flow, you're pretty positive anyway. So I didn't need to do any Reiki on me. When I'm bad, I'll go to my Reiki master for a tune-up. But
so where can people reach out to you if they want to connect with you? Are you on Facebook, and you said Instagram? And
so I'm on Instagram. The Manifesting Virgin is me. That's on Instagram. And then the book is Intuitive Speaking Her Truth. And that's on Instagram. I'm sorry, that's on Amazon. And like I said, I'm in the process of starting a free Facebook group for our community of women, just to get together and heal our traumas together, and kind of, laughter, gratitude, and positivity, and a lot of inappropriate sense of humor, because that is the best medicine. But Stacey Piedrahita on Facebook is me as well.
Okay.
And that's me.
So what would be the final word that you'd like to leave people with?
Watch The Wizard of Oz and pretend you're Dorothy. Seriously, make all your dreams come true. Find what makes you happy and follow your heart, and go back to your childhood. That's the biggest take out of everything that I've learned. Just dealing with my trauma and releasing my inner child was life-changing. There you go. So that's what I would tell women, anyone really, just go have fun. Fun and freedom. Woohoo!
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on the show, and I'll be sure to post like a link to your book and Facebook and Instagram. Thank you for coming on the show.
I appreciate that. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm very grateful for this opportunity. Thank you, Jay.
Thanks.